I sat frozen in the courtroom as my brother Nate testified with perfect confidence. His voice was steady, rehearsed, convincing. My sister has always been emotionally unstable, he told the judge. Erratic behavior, poor judgment. Our father worried constantly about her ability to manage finances or property responsibly. The judge nodded, taking notes. My lawyer squeezed my arm, warning me to stay quiet. I couldn't defend myself yet, not until it was my turn. I watched Nate spin elaborate lies about my mental health, my character, my relationship with our father. He was trying to paint me as unfit to inherit anything, and the judge was listening. That was the moment I realized the truth. My own brother wanted to erase me completely from our family legacy. My name is Elise Carter, and I'm 31 years old. Growing up, I was always the quieter one, the thoughtful, emotional sibling. My father understood me, but my mother, she always favored my brother. It was subtle but constant. When Dad died 6 months ago, I lost my only real advocate. My grief was overwhelming and genuine. Nate seemed composed, polished, already moving on. He took charge of the estate like it was a business transaction. That should have been my first warning sign. Our father had promised us a fair 50-50 split of everything. You'll both be taken care of equally, he told us multiple times. But when Nate presented the official will to the estate lawyer, only his name appeared as beneficiary. I sat there stunned. I'm not mentioned anywhere? I asked, my voice shaking. Nate shrugged casually. Guess Dad changed his mind in his final months. You know how he got confused toward the end? But I remember seeing the original will clearly. This document Nate was presenting wasn't the one I'd seen. Something was terribly wrong here. The gaslighting started immediately. Nate told our extended family that I was imagining things. Grief is affecting our memory, he said with fake concern. Important emails from the estate lawyer mysteriously vanished. Nate changed the locks on our father's house without telling me. When I showed up with my key, it didn't work. I was being systematically erased from my own family legacy. Every access point was being cut off. Every document was disappearing. Every conversation was being reframed to make me look unstable. And he was doing it methodically, deliberately, without any remorse whatsoever. Our mother refused to get involved. Let it go, Elise. Fighting over money isn't worth destroying what's left of our family. Her voice was cold, dismissive. I felt completely alone. Nate controlled the narrative. He controlled access. He controlled how everyone perceived me. Grieving, unstable, unreliable, every label was designed to discredit me. That night, I made a decision. I needed help from outside the family. Someone who dealt with facts, not feelings. I needed a lawyer who specialized in contested estates. The attorney I found was named Patricia Ramos. She was no nonsense, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. I showed her the will Nate had presented. Something's off here, she said immediately. Like, the language is inconsistent, like someone added sections later. Relief flooded through me. Finally, someone believed me. I started searching through everything Dad had left behind. In a box of his papers, I found a postmarked envelope. Inside was a letter he'd written to an old friend. I'm so grateful both my kids will be taken care of equally. Elise gets the lake house she always loved, and Nate gets the main property. It's fair, and they both know it. The postmark proved he'd written this after the date Nate claimed Dad had revised everything. This was evidence, real dated, undeniable evidence that contradicted Nate's entire story. Then Nate escalated everything dramatically. His lawyer submitted a court document claiming I'd been under psychiatric treatment. The document looked official, citing a doctor I'd never even heard of. This wasn't just manipulation anymore. This was fraud. This was a forged medical document being submitted to a court. Nate had crossed from unethical into criminal territory. He had severely underestimated me. That was going to be his biggest mistake. I contacted my real therapist immediately. When I showed her the forged report, she was appalled. This is completely fabricated. I never wrote this. That's not even my diagnostic style. She agreed to testify without hesitation. What your brother is doing isn't just unethical, Elise. It's criminal. Her validation meant everything. I wasn't crazy. Nate was committing actual crimes to steal my inheritance. Next, we discovered documents Nate had submitted claiming I'd signed over my inheritance rights voluntarily. The signatures were slightly off. A professional handwriting analyst confirmed forgery. Nate had forged my signature on legal documents. It got worse. He'd used those forged documents to sell one of the properties that should have been mine. He'd taken the money and deposited it into his personal account. This was systematic fraud, forgery, and theft. Every crime had left a paper trail. Going through Dad's belongings again, I found something incredible. His old phone, still charged. I scrolled through his voice memos. I found one from 4 months before he died. His voice came through clearly. Note to myself, make sure the lake house deed gets transferred to Elise properly. She's always loved that place. It should be hers outright. No contest. My hands started shaking. This was my father's voice, clearly stating his intentions, with a timestamp proving when he'd recorded it. This was exactly the kind of evidence that changes everything. Nate called me the night before our preliminary hearing. His voice was smug. "You'll embarrass yourself in court tomorrow, Elise. No one believes your version of events." I was calm now, calmer than I'd been in months. "Well, let the judge decide who's telling the truth," I replied evenly. I hung up. The courtroom was smaller than I had expected. Nate sat looking relaxed and confident. They thought this would be easy. He presented his version first, the concerned brother dealing with an unstable sister. He introduced the fake psychiatric report. His testimony was smooth, practiced, convincing. If I didn't know the truth, I might have believed him. I just sat quietly, waiting for my turn, letting them dig their hole deeper. My therapist testified first. She was professional, calm, and absolutely devastating to Nate's case. She's completely stable, rational, and mentally competent. Then Patricia handed her the forged report. This document is completely fabricated. The courtroom murmured. Nate's confident expression wavered slightly. The handwriting expert testified next. These signatures were forged. She presented enlarged comparisons. Then Patricia introduced the bank records showing Nate had sold property using those forged documents. $50,000 deposited directly into his personal account. The judge's expression changed. Nate had gone pale. They'd underestimated the quiet, emotional sister completely. Then I played my father's voice recording. The courtroom went absolutely silent. My father's voice filled the space, clear and unmistakable. "Make sure the lake house deed gets transferred to Elise properly. She's always loved that place. It should be hers outright. No contest." The timestamp clearly showed on the screen. 2 months after Nate claimed Dad had changed the will to exclude me. It hit the courtroom like a bomb. The judge turned to Nate. Her voice was sharp and serious. "Mr. Carter, would you like to respond to this evidence?" Nate opened his mouth, then closed it. He looked at his lawyer, who looked equally lost. He tried to speak again, but only a small stutter came out. Then nothing. Complete silence. For the first time in 6 months, Nate had nothing to say. No smooth explanation, no manipulation, just silence. That silence was everything I needed. It was admission without words, guilt without confession. The judge delivered her ruling 2 days later. Her voice was firm and clear. "Mr. Nate Carter has engaged in systematic fraud, forgery, and misrepresentation regarding his father's estate." She ruled that the estate must be split equally as originally intended. Additionally, she was forwarding evidence of forgery and fraud to the district attorney for criminal investigation. I just exhaled slowly. News spread quickly. Nate's real estate license was suspended. Clients pulled their business. The lake house deed was processed. It was officially mine. Again. I drove out there that afternoon just to see it again, to remember why I'd fought so hard. My first night at the lake house was quiet and peaceful. I framed the property deed and hung it on the mantle. My phone lit up with an unknown number. I knew it was probably Nate, but I had nothing left to say to him. I blocked the number and went back to watching the sunset. The best revenge wasn't in punishing Nate. It was in building a life that proved I was everything he'd claimed I wasn't. Nate eventually pled guilty to reduced charges, avoiding prison, but receiving 5 years of probation and being required to repay everything he had stolen. I felt free from trying to earn love from people who'd never planned to give it. 2 years later, I sat on the lake house porch with a cup of coffee. I'd helped dozens of people through their own family conflicts and estate battles. I taught them what I'd learned. Document everything. Trust your instincts. Don't let gaslighting make you doubt reality. I won by refusing to stay silent. Sometimes, silence is the loudest justice there is. Not the silence of submission, the silence of watching lies collapse under the weight of documented truth.